Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Everyday Work Talk. I am Sarah.
And I'm Ryan. We are happy you're here.
This podcast is for people who want to improve their English for work or business and feel more confident in everyday conversations.
Yes, here we practice real English for real work situations. And we keep the language clear and easy to understand. No long grammar lessons, just natural conversations you can use in any job.
Ryan, I was thinking about our office meeting yesterday. It was so interesting to see how the different age groups reacted to the new schedule.
Oh, I know what you mean. The younger team members were so happy about the flexibility. But the older managers seemed a bit worried.
Exactly. It really shows how work motivation is changing. That is why our topic today is work motivation, Gen Z versus boomers.
It is a classic debate. My father is a boomer, and he thinks you should stay at one company for 30 years. My younger cousin is Gen Z, and he has had 3 jobs in 2 years.
Haha, that sounds exactly like what we see in the news. They just have different goals and different values when it comes to their careers.
It makes for some very interesting office dynamics. I think our listeners will really recognize these situations in their own workplaces.
I agree. It doesn't matter if you work in a big bank or a small cafe. These generation gaps are everywhere.
Before we get into the details of the discussion, we want to tell you about something special in this episode.
Listen carefully to the dialogue. We put 4 advanced phrases in the conversation. These are B2 level phrases.
They are very useful for sounding more professional and natural when you speak English at work.
Try to find them while we talk. We will explain them all later in the second half of the show.
Are you ready to start, Sarah? I have my notes ready to go.
I am ready. Let's talk about why we work and what keeps us going.
So, Sarah, when we talk about boomers, we usually think about people born between 1946 and 1964. They are the experienced leaders in many companies now.
That is right. For them, work is often about stability and loyalty. They grew up in a time where hard work was the only way to get a good life.
My dad always says that you need to be the first person in the office and the last person to leave. He thinks physical presence is the most important thing.
I think that is a very common boomer view. They value the hierarchy and following the rules of the company.
But then you look at Gen Z. These are the people born after 1997. They are the newest people in the workforce.
And they want something very different. They care about mental health and personal time. They don't just want a paycheck. They want a purpose.
Sometimes it is hard for a boomer manager to understand that. If a Gen Z employee asks for a mental health day, the manager might think they are being lazy.
But they are not lazy. They just prioritize different things. They want a work-life balance that previous generations didn't think was possible.
I think managers really need to read between the lines when they talk to their younger staff, because they might not say directly what they need.
That is a great point. Communication styles are so different. Boomers are very direct, while Gen Z might use more subtle ways to show they are unhappy.
And when a project is really important, a boomer boss will pull out all the stops to make sure it is finished perfectly, even if it means working all weekend.
But a Gen Z worker might ask if the weekend work is really necessary. They might suggest a more efficient way to do it during the week.
It can cause a lot of stress. I have seen boomers get frustrated because they feel the younger generation doesn't respect the tradition of hard work.
On the other hand, Gen Z feels that the old way of working is outdated. They think technology should make our lives easier, not just make us work more.
I think sometimes the older generation needs to take a back seat and let the younger employees lead the way with new digital tools.
I agree. The younger workers are digital natives. They understand the internet and social media in a way that older people sometimes struggle with.
But the boomers have so much wisdom and experience. You can't just ignore 40 years of business knowledge.
Of course not. The best companies are the ones that find a way to combine both. They use the experience of the boomers and the innovation of Gen Z.
To do that, you really need to level the playing field so that everyone feels their opinion is valued, regardless of their age.
That is the goal for any good HR department. If you can make everyone feel motivated, you will have a very successful team.
It is not easy, though. Motivation is such a personal thing. What works for a 60-year-old man will not work for a 22-year-old woman.
True, but if we talk about it more and understand these differences, we can all work together much better.
I also noticed that Gen Z loves feedback. They want to know how they are doing almost every day. They want to grow fast.
Yes, and boomers are used to an annual review. They think if the boss isn't yelling at you, then you are doing a great job.
Exactly. No news is good news for a boomer. But for Gen Z, no news is very scary. They think they are about to be fired.
It is funny how the same situation can be seen so differently. We really need to keep talking to each other to avoid these mistakes.
I think we have covered a lot of the main differences here. It really comes down to what you value in your life and your time.
Exactly. It's about finding that middle ground where everyone feels respected and productive.
That was a really interesting conversation, Sarah.
I hope our listeners found it useful for their own jobs.
I hope so too. Now let's look at those 4 phrases we used. They were a little bit more difficult than our usual words.
Yes, let's start with the first one. I said that managers need to read between the lines when they talk to younger staff.
This phrase, read between the lines, means to understand a hidden meaning. It is when someone says something but they actually mean something else.
Right. For example, if a worker says, "I am very busy right now," they might actually mean, "I am too stressed and I need help."
You use this when you are trying to understand the real feelings of a colleague. A new example would be, "I had to read between the lines of his email to see that he was actually angry."
That is a perfect example. Now, Ryan, what was our second phrase?
The second one was, pull out all the stops. I said a boomer boss will pull out all the stops to finish a project.
This is a very common business idiom. It means to use all your energy and all your resources to make something successful.
You use it when you are talking about doing your absolute best or working extra hard for a big goal.
Like a marketing campaign?
Exactly. For example, we need to pull out all the stops for the product launch next month. It means we will spend the budget and work the hours to win.
I like that one. It sounds very energetic. The third phrase was take a back seat. I suggested that sometimes older workers should take a back seat.
This means to take a less active role in something. You let someone else lead or make the decisions while you just watch or help a little.
It is very useful when you are talking about giving someone else a chance to learn or lead a project.
Here is another example. After 10 years as the manager, she decided to take a back seat and let the new supervisor handle the daily tasks.
It is about stepping back. And finally, our fourth phrase was level the playing field.
You said this when talking about making everyone feel equal. Level the playing field means to create a situation where everyone has the same opportunities.
It comes from sports. If the field is level, no one has an advantage because of the ground. In business, it means fairness.
You can use it when talking about rules or company policies. For example, the new training program will level the playing field for all the junior employees.
This means everyone gets the same training, so everyone has the same chance to get a promotion.
These 4 phrases are so good for your business English. Let's quickly say them one more time for everyone.
Sure. First, we have read between the lines, which means finding the hidden meaning in what someone says.
Second is pull out all the stops, which means doing everything possible to succeed.
Third is take a back seat, which means letting someone else take the lead or be more active.
And fourth is level the playing field, which means making things fair and equal for everyone involved.
I think if you use these in your next meeting, your boss will be very impressed with your English.
I agree. They show that you understand more complex ways of describing work situations. It really moves you up to that B2 level.
It is always fun to break these down. I feel like I learn something new every time we do this, even though we are the hosts.
Me too, Sarah. English has so many of these colorful expressions that make the language so much more interesting than just basic words.
And they are very common in American office culture. You will hear them in movies and in real meetings all the time.
So listeners, make sure you write them down and try to use at least one of them this week.
That is a great challenge. Maybe start with a simple one, like take a back seat, and see how it feels.
Well, we are almost at the end of our time today. This was a great discussion about Gen Z and Boomers.
It really was. I think it is such an important topic because our offices are more diverse now than they have ever been.
Absolutely. We hope you enjoyed listening and that you feel a bit more confident about these generation gaps now.
For our listeners on YouTube, we have a question for you today. Which generation do you belong to, and what is your biggest motivation at work?
That is a great question, Sarah. Also, do you find it easy or difficult to work with people who are much older or younger than you? Tell us your stories in the comments below.
We love reading your experiences, and we will try to reply to as many comments as we can. It is so interesting to hear how this works in different countries.
If you liked this episode, please do not forget to like and subscribe to Everyday Work Talk. It really helps us keep making these lessons for you.
And tell your friends or colleagues about us. We want to help as many people as possible improve their English to boost their careers.
We have a very interesting new topic coming up tomorrow that will be super useful for your professional life.
It is going to be a lot of fun, and I think you will learn some great new words that you can use immediately.
I am already looking forward to talking about it. It is something that almost everyone deals with at work at some point.
So don't miss it. We will be here with more clear English and more natural conversations.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a productive day at work. See you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye!